You're listening to WCAT Radio, your home for authentic Catholic programming.
God bless you, seekers of Christ. The book is the Bible, Lectio Divina, the Gospels of John. In the Lectio Divina, where we love letters from your Father. Each chapter, a special letter from Jesus to the human race, that he tells us his relationship to the Father and how he applies it to ourselves, because he came into our world to bring us home, to teach us, to pasture us, to get us away from the world of flesh and the devil, fulfilling the command of his Father. I am the Lord your God. You shall not have strange gods before me. Not anything human, not anything diabolical, not anything that is not God, anything that confuses you, everything that leads you away. And so now we have this chapter, a glorious chapter, the prayer of Jesus, chapter 17 in John's Gospel. The Last Supper, before he goes to Gethsemane, he gives this long prayer to his Father, a prayer in which the apostles are listening. They're listening because the prayer to the Father Jesus is giving, that all, how many times it says in the scripture that after Jesus gives teaching, he goes and spends the night talking to his Father, praying to his Father. How many times he sequesters himself from the other apostles and he prays to the Father. And this time, Jesus gives this prayer to the Father in their presence. Very special reason for that. So let us be like these apostles, and we come to the presence of Jesus at the Last Supper because he has so much to say. We are there. We are present to him. We are his disciples. He's talking about us. He's talking to the Father about us. He summarizes everything that he had done in 3 years of his apostolate, of his public life, of his identifying himself as the Messiah and giving teaching and giving example. And the final phase is not over with, because that comes with the resurrection and the Holy Spirit. So we can call this prayer to the Father, this whole chapter of 26 verses, the final blessing, Jesus' final blessing. When you read the Old Testament and the last chapter of Deuteronomy, in chapter 33, it talks about how Moses is going to come to the end of his life. He prepares for his death. And in it, he gives a poem of blessing to the tribes of Israel. And he summarizes the teachings and what God has done in leading them out of Egypt. But the teachings are, you know now that this is the Lord your God. You shall not have strange gods before you. You shall not go with the demons of Egypt. You must not go with demons of your own thoughts, the demons that sequester you from the law of God. It took 40 years for them to begin to understand. And even then, there were so few that went into the Holy Land and into the land of Canaan. And with us, the symbol of this is that we are being detached from the spirits of this world from the devil, from the rebellion, the sins of Adam and Eve, the vices, and we are on our way to the Holy Land, to eternity. And Jesus, as he comes to the Father, he wants to summarize and bless us. He gives a final blessing. He summarizes this public messianic message in his life before his death. You know how it is in human nature? When a person is dying and we come to, say, a beloved father or mother before their death and they're breathing their last, and we say, we want to know their last words. Mom, what do you want to say to me? What message do you want to leave behind? And she'll say, well, be a true son. Be the son that God has given me, the one that I tried to train to follow the ways of the Lord. Keep it up, and I'll await you in heaven. And you'll be welcomed. And I'll pray for you in purgatory. And when I come to see the Lord, I will be your president. I will be the one going before you. And I will be praying for you, son. And do not give up and do not give in to the spirit of the world. And we'll meet again. We'll meet again. That's what Jesus is saying. So before his death, he shows his great love for them by going, he's not victimized now. He's not being sacrificed. That is, his body is still there. He could run away if he wants to. He could go away, he could disappear. But no, he's not going to go from the supper room to some other place where he can avoid being the sacrificial Lamb of God. He's ready for it. He says, I'm going to my death. He said that in chapter 16. I'm going to show my love for you. It's time now. The time has come. This is a moment of truth. The time has come for me, the Lamb. You first came to me because John the Baptist said I was the Lamb of God. Now, it's not just a cute little lamb. The Lamb of sacrifice. The yearly. The one has fulfilled his public life. And I'm going to be sacrificed for you. But you see, this human being you see before you now is going to be whipped into a non-human. And so, he says, the Father's will be done by you. You want to know what I say? The Father's will be done by me, and then what you see me do will be a model for what you must do in doing the Father's will. Because you will be my clones. You are my followers. You're the ones who see with my eyes of faith. Your eyes of faith will be my eyes that see brightly. And what I say, you will say. What I did, you will do. What I sacrifice, you will sacrifice willingly. Willingly. Not with hesitation. Not with trying to turn earth into your heaven. Because you just have a short time here. No matter how much you try to hang on to it, it's going to leave you. You're going to leave it, it's going to leave you. So, now he's saying to the apostles, you just listen. I'm going to address my Father. You know that when I address my Father, I cannot deceive, I cannot lie. He knows me like he knows you. He knows my heart. He knows my words, whether my words are agreeable to my witness or not. And you are my witnesses. You'll see that yourself. So, before I go to the Father, and I go before you as a final witness, I want you to hear, fathers. I say this, Father in heaven, your lamb is ready for sacrifice. It's like the symbol of Abraham and Isaac, put him on the rock and ready to sacrifice him to the God. Now, God, the Father, is the Abraham, and I am the Lamb. And his hand will not be held. It will occur. This is no symbol. This is the reality. The Lamb will be sacrificed. Because I take upon myself now, Father, you know what the plan is. You know your plan for man, and I am your plan for man. Originally, man deserved the penalty of hell, of rejection by you, from you, rather. God never rejects anyone, but we think of that looking at our selfishness, that God rejects us. He doesn't reject us. And this is what Jesus is going to prove. That man falls by his own rejection, his own rebellion, by listening to Satan, who himself is rejected, self-rejected. God didn't even reject Satan. Satan rejected himself, not doing God's will. But he says, now all these sins that mankind has committed, the penalty, not the sins, but the actual penalties of the sin, the guilt, I take upon myself. I am sinless. But all those eternal penalties of rejection from God, calling himself, blocking God from our lives, I will take upon myself. And I'm going to restore you to the Father. So in verse 1, that's what he says. Your lamb is ready. Unload the penalties of man on me. And in my sacrifice of my blood, the infinite merit that I will merit by being the Son of God and joined to my humanity. It's mysterious, but it gives my humanity an infinite quality, because I don't have a human person. The person in me is the Son of God. But I've united humanity to that. That humanity will be burdened with sin. The penalty will be paid. That's the first verse of 26 verses in this prayer. Summarized, of course. The second verse he says, Father, I thank you for assigning me also as their shepherd. The shepherd of man has to defend them and protect them against Satan. So I will remain their shepherd. I am not becoming a non-shepherd. I will always be their shepherd, because this is the permanence of my presence. I will always permanently be Son of God united to humanity. And I will shepherd man. I will offer him protection. And you, through me, guarantee a merciful love. They see what happens to me, that I take sins upon them, take their penalty, I pay their price. They can always come back to you as long as they have free will and wish to do your will, wish to obey you by imitating me, by hearing my word and modeling me. And give that strength to these persons that I leave behind. Satan's destroying vices are all the wolves that tear apart. Protect them from it. Verse 3. Father, now they know your plan for man. Your plan for man is me. I am the plan. They will never have to totally face the world and Satan and trials alone. Yes, they have to face it, but not alone anymore. I will be at their side. I will give them my word, my model, my strength, and the Holy Spirit that I will send so they can endure the world and its tragedies. Let them look around. I say to the person who's listening, look around you. What kind of world do we have? A world of hatred? A world of division? If you think too much on it, you go haywire. You become depressed. Because what can you do to change it? You can be peaceful, but there is no peace. Isaiah said that long ago. Peace, peace, but there is no peace. Peace is only in Jesus. It's the only place we can find peace. Where's truth? People lie to you every day in everything. The very people that you promote to govern you. How many times I voted for persons that I thought, well, we got a choice between two persons, and I say, yeah, I have a choice. How many times I've chosen wrongly? The persons I put in don't follow the way of God. I believe that I say it maybe humorously, but it's not humorous at all. It's a tragic truth. People say, oh, you vote and the person's going to better your life. Some do and some don't. Some try and some don't even try. You got a choice in this world when you ever choose any human being to be your mentor, to be your helper, to be your assistant. You trust him. You trust him until you find out you can't trust him anymore. It's no false motto to say that even your family and your best friends, who your best friend, you're not even your own best friend. You try to be your best friend and do all things your way, and you're a disaster. Other things influence you. There's only one best friend there is, and that's Jesus Christ, because he is God. He's the one who never betrays, who never lies. And if you vote for him, vote for him. You vote for a candidate that you think is close to divinity. Praise him, applaud him. Send your money to him. Just hope that he keeps one or two of his promises, or that he's even capable of doing it, even at his best wish. There are others that are willing to destroy him. But the plan for man is Jesus Christ. He never betrays. He's better than any friend you'll ever have, and better than anyone that you'll ever trust. No one is perfect in your life, because everything has a double standard. Everyone, because either they wish to do the good thing all times, but they are incapable, limited. They are human. Jesus says, I am the plan for man. I will not leave you to stand alone. You will face all things, and you'll even face yourself. And I will not leave you alone. I will have mercy on you. I stand and guarantee it in my blood as I go to my death. I will be your guide. If you know when you listen to me and when you don't. I'll be your protector. You'll never be able to protect yourself against all trial that you have in life. You pay for people to protect you. You pay for advisors. You pay for the experts. But I have the power to give you strength. I can give you strength. You're paying for someone else's protection and strength and understanding and expertise. I give it to you because I love you. In verse 4, Jesus says to the Father and pledges it to the Father. He pledges it. Father, I give them new hope. Many times we lose hope. There's someone that I don't know if I counsel or don't counsel, but for years I keep hearing every time you're saying, yes, you're doing the right thing. This is a virtue. This is a virtuous thing to do. Follow this and you'll be happy. This is the way that your needs will be fulfilled by the grace of God. He says, well, I hope so. I hope so. Well, if you hope so, act on it. Do it. Trust it. Believe it. It's Jesus talking to you, not me. Well, a lot of people gave me advice and no one didn't work out. All right? You're right. I can be limited, but Jesus can't. Jesus gives us new hope, true hope, full hope, new hearts, a heart of compassion, His heart. He wants you to image His heart, and He gives you His heart. Look at the saints. They were defective in many ways, but God gave them new hearts, but they accepted it. But He's giving each one of us that new heart. It's His heart. He doesn't give us somebody else's heart. The heart that He has given to the Virgin Mary by creation, by affirming her, by protecting her from sin. He gives us new knowledge. As we read the Scriptures and follow Him in His teachings, He gives us new knowledge we never had. You know, as a child, I got new knowledge that others who didn't follow Jesus never had. What did God make you? To know Him, to love Him, and to serve Him in this world, that I may be permanently happy with Him in the next. That's wisdom. I was taught that when I was 3 years old. I was taught in catechism. I was taught it by my mother before catechism because she learned it. Go through life now. No, I'm in my 90s, my nifty 90s. So I've got one foot on the banana peel, and I'm still learning the truth of that. To know Him. And that's what I'm trying to do every day. That's what I'm trying to project to the one who is listening. Not that I'm the expert. Jesus is the expert. I have to tell the truth at least. Not pretend to be humble. It's not my truth. Check it out. Go to the scriptures. Find out from Jesus Himself whether it's true or not. Because if it isn't true, you're wasting your time. Where is truth? I am the way, the truth, and the life. And He gives us new strength. Do you really think you can become a martyr? Do you think you can undergo trial and stress and rejection? You know, we're being martyred every day by people around us. We actually martyr ourselves. When we sin, we're on a suicidal pattern. We hate ourselves. When we follow a way that doesn't lead to God, we go off the path. So, there's no more ignorance with Jesus Christ. We're learning every day. Check it out. Follow His way. Witness it. Act on it. And find out whether or not He's fulfilling our unmet needs, unmet by the world. They can't fulfill their needs. It's not just a saying at Mass when you say, peace that the world cannot give. Confusion? Many times we're confused. Misinterpretation of life? You can't misinterpret life with Jesus. He is the life, and He's showing it. And He's saying to Father, could you correct these knuckleheads? They never seem to get the message. And I have to now go and give an example of it. Let them observe what I am offering. See? Here it is. Jesus on the cross. That's it. You willing to do that? To die even for yourself? To benefit yourself for eternity? You're going to die anyway. Are you willing to say, Vivo Cristo Rey, as you die, and say it truthfully? So, Father, give them your grace so they understand what we're talking about. The very apostles that He was talking about there, you look around now, since we're at the Last Supper and listening to Jesus, look at the 11 that are there. One's already working hard to betray him within the hour. He's working at it. One that said he wouldn't betray him. Look at all the other 11. The only one we can find who keeps his word is John the Beloved. So, and they're all looking at each other and saying, oh, who's going to betray? We're not going to betray you. We're listening. We're listening. We're all going to listen. Yeah. And they're also going to run away. Double standards, even to oneself. We can't stand people that have double standards. That's why we can't stand ourselves. Verse 5, he says, Father, disclose to them our union, that the strength that I have, if I show strength in my humanity, because, of course, I'm connected to the Son of God, a divinity, who is united to you. They can't see that. They just see me as a man, like a prophet, saying, oh yeah, this is good teaching. This is a good farewell. This is a good hope. This is a good prayer. It's not just a prayer, it's a connection. It's my union with you. The Trinity. We're one. You know that in these verses in chapter 17, at least 4 times, but even more impressive in other things that he's saying the same thing. May they be one as we are one. He just doesn't mean one to each other. It means one with me, one with you, Father. As I am united to you, I'm uniting them to you. Because they disunited from you by their sins. I wasn't there, I had nothing to do with it. But they're coming back to you. They're going to show fear. We know it. I'm not saying it to them, but you know it, and I know it. Will they stand by me? Will any of them stand by me? No. I not only take their sins upon me, the penalty of their sins, but I'm doing the things that they promise but don't do. So, Father, convince them I am your true image. And I'm asking them to be my image because they can see my humanity. That's my image. That's my earthly shadow that they can see with their eyes, their ears, their sight. And they're going to see it. They're going to witness what's going to happen. But I am your true image of courage. I'm your true image of love. I'm your true image of mercy. They don't have to just think about it and imagine it and pretend and hope. So convert them from following their false emotions. Give them conviction. That is the miracle. Give them conviction. And it's a grace. It's a gift. They can never get it by themselves. They try. And even at their best, they lose it. And they do things that are just self-interest, that have nothing to do with their eternal life. Verse 6, Jesus says, I pray for my disciples to model me. Let them know this. And he's saying to the Father, he says, I pray. They belong to you. They see you as creator. They know the law of Moses. They know the revelation. God made the world and he made man. He made it in his own image. But let them be totally so. Total disciples. Disciples, those that can learn. Let them learn from me and model me. Yes, I send them as clones, images of me, ambassadors of me. I give them the power to be my ambassadors. What do they do? They're afraid to talk. They're afraid even to declare it publicly to the people and their brothers and sisters that they reach out to. Who reaches out to people in the world? Who proclaims me? And who speaks my words and models me? They're all divided. They give all kinds of exceptions and accusing others of doing what they're doing, of doing the things that they neglect. Not just the things they do, but the things they neglect. I'm asking these men, Lord, they are going to be my co-shepherds. They will see my earthly journey, and they will have a journey of their own. And each person in this world, from now on into eternity, everyone who exists, will have their own journey. They will have their journey. They'll have their excuses. They'll have their circumstances. And they'll have their good points, too. Verse 7, he says, and let them not think that they're just their own choice or my choice. They're your choice. You chose them before they were inspired to choose me. You led them to me. Certainly, the devil didn't lead them to me. Their human advantages didn't lead them to me. They're going to do my work. And in doing my work, they'll do yours. They won't be selfish and just look into themselves and say, oh, I glory, I'm the top of the heap, the top of the mountain. I've succeeded in this world. Well, look at all the people who have succeeded, and you'll find their defects. Right now, in our country, they're finding the defects in every hero. And they can't stand anybody having any defect. They expect everybody to be God, to be perfect. They said, oh, they did a great thing. Yeah, but they did other things too. We can't stand it. Tear their statues down. Throw them to the ground. Well, who's going to be left standing? You already are tearing God to the ground. The one who is perfect. The one who has no ill will. The one who goes out to improve you. And do anything at all that God demands, and you find that you get improvement. You get closer to Him. Can't even mention His name. You can't even figure out who's a man or a woman. You have to have high courts to declare that marriage is not between a man and a woman. It's for who you think you are. So, I suppose Napoleon gets married every day, because if you have a little more illusion than people who are not sure even what nature is, then where are you? You can create yourself into any kind of an animal, any kind of a weird human being. You notice that I think every time someone says that they're reincarnated, they used to use that term, now they're reincarnating themselves in their own heads into something that they're not. When they recreate themselves, they become Napoleon, or woman becomes Cleopatra. There's never a servant girl, a slave, or someone who cleans the slops that is reincarnated. Same thing with people that have these illusions in their heads of who they are. They're always somebody marvelous and wonderful, of course, that nobody else can see. At least we can be physically what people do see. I can't pretend to be 20 years old and vigorous when I'm 93. But I can talk from experience. I can have something a 20-year-old does not have because I went through it and I've learned. So I can sound like a wiser person. Doesn't really make me wise. Doesn't make me free from error. Except when we connect to Jesus. So that is it. Yes. Even Jesus thanks the Father for us. It almost sounds ridiculous. He doesn't need us. But he thanks the Father. It's not ridiculous. He gives us value. He says that we're special in the eyes of God. We're not nobodies. We're somebody because he made us somebody. But we're nobodies without him. I can hardly remember people that have gone before us that we say, or somebody, will never forget you. One lie after another. But Jesus says to his Father, well, at least as a human being, as a limited human being, at least they join me. And they freely join me with their free will. And they're committing themselves to me. And I say this, Father, I thank you for them. And he's saying that to each one of us. Father, can you imagine Jesus saying that? I have a piece of paper next to my bed, and I had to write it out. Have an attitude of gratitude. Have an attitude of gratitude. Can you imagine that Jesus Christ shows gratitude to the Father for having inspired us to join him? Think about it. Meditate on it. Yes, we witness his miracles. Miracle of creation. Miracle of anyone having regard to us. Anyone at all. thinking that we're special. We're only shadows. We're only empty voices that are heard in the wilderness, as John the Baptist said. You get a card? Got a card from someone who says that some actions of mine in the past inspire them to do actions in their own life. He gave me the credit for it. I did it. Whatever I did, sometimes I didn't even know what I did that was so good, because Jesus inspired me to do it, and that person witnessed. Yeah. So I'm grateful. I can show that card to people and say, look, he put his name to it. And he says, this is what I did for him. That it happened years ago and inspired him to act on his life in imitation of me when I was imitating Jesus. I know what inspired me then. But it's Jesus who does it. Jesus is willing to work through us as his instruments. He's willing to work through us. What a great and noble, marvelous thing that is. And yet, Jesus talks to his Father and says, and he wants us to hear it, I thank you for them. Wow. That's all I can say is, wow. He says something more. Verse 8. Let them, Father, let them feed on me. The way I feed on you. And in feeding on me, let them feed the ones who are hungry for me and you. Let them be hungry for the good person who feeds them. Let them scatter the seeds of life that I gave them each a bag to spread out. All of the virtues that I asked them to spread out, compassion and all. These are seeds. Love, sacrifice. These are the seeds. They don't know how to plant it. They don't know how to nurture it. Teach them. Let them observe. Each one teaching the other. Make each person productive. It's nothing simple or confusing to say that each one comes into life in order to improve it in some little way in your own social area, in your own, where you walk, where you talk, where you act. Make somebody happy besides yourself. Do something productive in life. It's sad to hear about people when they die. There's almost nothing to say about them. You say, well, he made us laugh. Oh, good. So, an animal can make you laugh. A cat can make you laugh. Well, he didn't kill anybody. Well, how many can say that? You could kill a person's character by invidia, by breaking them down. You can do that every day. We can kill a person's reputation by lying about them. if you can say that you haven't harmed anyone in life, well, to quote the Epistle of John, then you're a liar. And in verse 9, Jesus says to the Father, I thank them for their loyalty in not following false ways. Keep them from the vagaries of cultural disapproval. Seeking cultural disapproval. That when they follow me, they're going to be disapproved. I've heard people say, well, I can't talk religion. Talk religion. Act religiously. Connect your thoughts to your actions that are good, that are virtuous. That's teaching religion by action. We're not saying go and spout out and point a finger at anyone and condemn them. Because that's what people mean when they say preaching religion or teaching religion. A great example of St. Francis, when with the friars, he walked through a village and he said, we're going to preach here. He just walked through the village and did the normal things that he would do. Normal actions in Jesus. And when they came out, the friars would say, well, we didn't preach to anybody. He says, yes, we did. We showed by our example the peace of Jesus. We came peacefully among people. We didn't harm anyone. We didn't show anger. We didn't show hatred. We didn't go and break their windows. We just walked through. When they look at us, they'll say, he didn't say these exact words, but when they look at us, they'll say, those men are peaceful. They didn't come to harm us. That's a witness. So, Jesus says to his Father, keep them from personal vicious ends, from hypocrisy. Keep them from infidelity. Keep them from seeking improper approval. Notice that when things are being done wrong, how many people are quiet? They see it, do nothing about it. Intimidated? Okay, they have their excuses. But the ones who are vicious, aren't they quite loud? They don't worry about disapproval. And not only that, they'll tell you why they should be approved. They have a lot of chutzpah to declare all the things that they're doing wrong is right. Find it all the time. When I was young and wanted to do some witnessing in a jail, I was only about 20 years old then, and went there and listened to a prisoner. And this particular prisoner, he was known as the unusual person, the unknown for a person who was committing crimes in New York City. They were looking for him for years. And he was finally captured. Actually not captured, because he revealed himself. And he didn't even live in New York. He lived in another state. And the unknown bandit, or the unknown weirdo. And there he was in prison in Metawan, which is the sister prison to Sing Sing, where they put the criminally insane. Well, maybe they could put that in every explanation in every prison, because criminality is an insanity. Anyway, I was pretty naive, and I happened to meet him and didn't know who I was talking to. Prison cell, of course, behind bars. And I says, oh, you're that person that I read about? Yeah. And he says, it's strange how they couldn't find you. Well, he says, they're pretty stupid. He says, I wasn't so naive as to remain in the areas where the crimes were committed, to remain there and have people look around for people there. I simply lived in the next state. By the time they got to the crimes, I was not there. Another one says, yeah, I committed. This is actual fact. I'm not making this up. He says, yeah, I'm here for murder. That's true. I killed my wife because she was unfaithful. She deserved it. I never killed anyone but to deserve it. Well, I had heard he also killed her mother. He says, well, because the mother says that she was innocent and she was against me, so I had to get rid of her. Well, how many people are you going to get rid of? That's what I was thinking. I wouldn't dare say it. Everybody can excuse anything. Even the devil excuses himself. He made a mistake. He pretended he was God. He wanted to unseat God and put himself there. It's a mistake. They're not sins anymore, they're just mistakes. Verse 10, Father, I ask only one thing of them, that they always glorify you and even myself, that they see me as glorifying you as Creator and Lord, that we don't pretend. If they can please me, they can by accepting you. Want to please me? Then proclaim God. He's neglected in the public order, in public society. Atheism, secularism, it doesn't exist. Prayer in school, who's protesting? Who's insisting? Who's willing to go to jail? Who's willing to make a hullabaloo? Say it. There's no public acknowledgement of God, and there's no public acknowledgement of Jesus. Afraid to do it publicly. You proclaim hatred publicly. Your own self-interest publicly, you do it. I would say you don't have to bother with politicians. You're your own politician. Make public statements of things that are safe by not acknowledging what's true. Yes. You keep things cool and safe by not saying who you are and who God is. But little secret, God acknowledges himself, and you won't get away with it. You acknowledge me, I acknowledge you before men. You deny me, I will have to deny you before men. You really want to be safe, do the will of God. Acknowledge him. Don't be afraid. What can man do to you? If you fear anything, fear the one who will insist that you make an account for yourself. These are not threats. This is the actual world that God wants. The actual world of peace. The world that makes for peace. But the peace of silence is not peace. Peace of intimidation is a peace that says in a grave, rest in peace. But as Isaiah the prophet says, the word comes that there is peace, but there is no peace. The next call from the north will be of war. And that's what human beings are so good at. Making war by avoiding truth. Making war against war. Personally, on the personal level. Not making the peace of Jesus. Father, Jesus says, there is no me without you. You are love. You are peace. And without you, there is no love and there is no peace. Internally and publicly. The Father, verse 11, be who you are and must be, both personal and universal. God cannot just be personal without being universal. He is a universal God. Private? Yes. And public. He owns the public. He owns the world. He must be proclaimed everywhere. He is the master of all and of each. What is necessary and essential? God. Without him, we are nothing. When? Not just in eternity. Not say, oh Lord, Take care of yourself up there. Sit on your throne on earth in time. This is his home, his world. He placed us in his home. And he's calling us from the trial of this home to see what we do about him here, and of how we obey his will, his reality. His will is not extraneous. Ours is. People don't know our will unless we express it. We know his will. His will is peace on earth, goodwill to men of goodwill. The Lord is saying to us, I'm coming to you, Father, to give my normal way of life and testimony. For me, to be the Lamb of God is my normal way of life, because I will honor you, bless you, glorify you, present you to men without let up. They want to stop me? They can't stop me. They'll have to kill me. But they can't kill me because you are my protector. They can put me on a cross. They can put me on that cross. They can bury me. But I am necessary. I am essential. I am love and peace. And without me, you can't have any of it. We all have to return to the original giver. The Lord gave us life, and our life has to return to the original giver. With love, with peace, with gratitude. For we are one with God. We're not God. We have to be in union with God. And one with all the people of God. As much as we can. And to proclaim that we are all one. And Jesus says in this, verse 11, I am with you in agreement of word and action. We are in agreement. It's not merely acceptance, but agreement. And what I do, you have to imitate. Because what I do is the way, the truth, and the life. That's the way. There is no other way. There is no other truth. And there is no other way to live but according to God's plan. Brothers and sisters, let's not be depressed because we can do it. We can do it now. There's all these chapters of our lives. Each day, we write another page in the chapter. Let's make sure that the chapter ends with a good chapter, where the testimony and the will of God becomes ours. We can say we are one with Jesus, one with the human race as God established it, one with His plan, and then we are truly His man. God bless you. Let's pray for each other. Pray for me, that we may be one with Jesus.
Hello, God's beloved. I'm Annabelle Mosley, author, professor of theology, and host of Then Sings My Soul and Destination Sainthood on WCAT Radio. I invite you to listen in and find inspiration along this sacred journey we're traveling together to make our lives a masterpiece and, with God's grace, become saints. Join me, Annabelle Mosley, for Then Sings My Soul and Destination Sainthood on WCAT Radio. God bless you. Remember, you're never alone. God is always with you.
Thank you for listening to a production of WCAT Radio. Please join us in our mission of evangelization. And don't forget, love lifts up when knowledge takes flight.